got several friends who've come to join me today too, so I'm very appreciative of y'all's support. They've kind of lived it, with me. I don't know, I feel like I may have forgotten something. Yeah, what was that?
Hang on. We'll take care of that.
Thank you very much. I don't know what y'all thought the warrior uniform was, but it's this. Definitely the Wonder Woman tiara and the camouflage tutu skirt. So here we go. This is my first time speaking in front of a large audience, so y'all definitely bear with me. I kind of float around a little bit, but like I said, there's a lot to tell. I've kind of lived through a lot. So here we go, I'll start. When I was going through breast cancer, very few people knew. I was on Facebook for 2.5 years because my ex-husband was cyber stalking me. So when you see those posts about October being breast cancer and domestic violence awareness month, you can put a face on it because it happened to me. For those going through it, you will get through it. You just have to make that choice right now. Is it going to define you, or are you going to survive? My words to you are please survive, because the world is a much brighter place with you in it. On October 3rd of 2017, I thought my world had ended. My abusive husband of 11.5 years cleared out all the bank accounts. He even took the last $11 out of my wallet. He loaded up his truck and our travel trailer with everything he could carry, and he left me for a woman as old as my mother that he'd been having an affair with. I did kind of have to chuckle at that. I was devastated because abuse victims, we are conditioned to believe that everything is our fault, even though I knew I had given my absolute all to that relationship. Months later, I heard someone say, a black hole can never be filled. And that resonated with me because all these years, I have been trying to please someone who could never be pleased. Sometimes life gives you a lot of hurt to clear the way for something great to happen. 22 days later, I met Herrin-Keith via a phone call set up by his sister. We were both dealing with crisis at that time. We talked for 5 hours the first night, and we discussed everything that you're not supposed to discuss. Politics, religion, etc. We both were firm that neither of us was interested in any kind of a relationship except friendship. We met in person 4 days later, and we were in a relationship. How does that happen? Our second wedding anniversary was 2 days ago. October 25th marks exactly 5 years to the day that we met.
It's my birthday.
Thank you.
I truly believe that everything we go through in life makes us who we're supposed to be. And on God's perfect timeline, He will put the perfect person in your life. You know it when it happens. You won't recall when you started loving them. You'll just feel like it's always been. Ben and I had been dating 8 months when I got the cancer diagnosis. It takes someone really special to be by your side. He had a coworker tell him, dump her, she's damaged goods. Ben told him that for the first time in his life, he'd found someone that truly loved him and he wasn't walking away. Ben went to every appointment with me, every chemo treatment. The night before my last chemo treatment, Ben was working all the way in Beaumont. His stepmother called me at 3 a.m. to tell me that his father had died. I had to be the one to break that news to him. He drove from Beaumont to Conroe to be with his dad to a hospice called the funeral home. I told him to please go home and get some rest. I was sitting in the waiting area waiting for my infusion, and in walks Ben, still in his work clothes and exhausted. He looked at me and he says, I've been here for every one of these and I'm not missing the last one. I'm a domestic abuse and breast cancer survivor. In the summer of 2018, I had a sunburn on my chest, right here. I was feeling. I was touching that lump. I called my doctor and she immediately scheduled a mammogram for me. That lump didn't show up on the mammogram because of the location. So they did an ultrasound. I'd already been reading up on it, So when the radiologist kept going over that spot and noted a star pattern, I knew. They scheduled me for a biopsy, and on July 5th, 2018, I got that call nobody wants to get. I was stage 1 grade 3 breast cancer, meaning it had spread. It was 80% aggressive and they needed to do surgery ASAP. So 2 weeks later, I'm undergoing surgery. So, I'm sorry here. In that 2 weeks from the biopsy to surgery, one of those tumors had grown from 12 millimeters to 18. Everything just happened so fast. I trusted my doctors and I did everything they said to do. They put in my chemo port and I remember crying because I didn't know it was going to my heart. My poor heart had been broken enough that year. Dr. Silva is my surgeon and she is absolutely amazing. She said I was a poster child for a perfect surgery. On August 16, 2018, I started chemo. It would have been my 12th wedding anniversary. So here I am going through a heart-wrenching divorce, coping with the aftermath of years of domestic abuse, and now I would be faced with the side effects of losing my hair. While I was in the chemo chair for my very first chemo, I received a call from a director of a company I had wanted to work for many years. He asked if I was available, and I said, yeah, when do I start? He said, tomorrow. I said, I will be there.
Oh.
Silly me, yeah. Not knowing how bad I would feel after chemo, which was pretty bad. I put on that lipstick and I started my new job. Within 21 days, I began to lose my hair. Every stroke of the brush was full of hair. My pillow would have multiple strands on it every morning. Oddly, I never cried. I noticed that I would hold my breath as I looked in the mirror till my head was covered. I never shaved it. I left those 20 or so strands that remained. I wore cute, cheap wigs I bought online and cutesy little head covers of many colors. I went through 6 months of very strong chemo, 6 additional months of infusions, and each time I went to chemo, I would wear something cheerful. In October, I wore my Wonder Woman costume, and I passed out pink cancer awareness bracelets to the other nurses and patients while I was dragging my chemo pole behind me. In December, I wore my Miss Santa outfit and passed out candy canes. In February, I wore my Mardi Gras leggings and I passed out Mardi Gras beads. It made me feel good to cheer up other people. The Wonder Woman costume kind of became my trademark. I wore it to walk a mile in her shoes, a domestic violence awareness walk. I was on a walker at that time. A lot of times you don't know the effects that chemo has on you. So I was a fall risk. Here I was, as young as I feel, falling down constantly. I wore it for several other charity events. As sick as I was, I always had the need to help others. Dr. Maria Swartz, who was with UTMB, she was in charge of the Pink Warrior program, and she was an absolute godsend to me. She gave me the strength when I wanted to give up. I owe the confidence I gained to her and her assistant, Heather Herndon. Some of you may know her as well. Dr. Ventikasan, I still think he's 14 years old, is my young oncologist. He's this mild-mannered, mop-top, Van shoe-wearing little genius. He's wonderful. He listens. He watches over me. And he is definitely a shining star. I had a bell ringing when I finished chemo in December, and 22 of my friends showed up to the hospital to witness it. They did it again for me when I finished radiation. Friends from as far back as high school all checked up on me and kept my spirits up. I have the most wonderful coworkers in the world, Colleen Miller and Claire Cooley, and they are more like my family than a coworker. They've always been there to help me and support me in every way. The staff at UTMB and MD Anderson have been so wonderful to me, and they made things go the best that they could possibly go. I was asked what inspired me to start helping others and motivating them. I guess it's because I know how it feels to be stifled, to be belittled, and to be made to feel like you're absolutely worthless. I know the ravages of cancer and what the treatment does to your body. On my journey, I'm still learning. I have value, and I have a lot to contribute to my community. My favorite quote is, "The world is a much brighter place when you live in it," by Joseph Campbell. I wanted to encourage other domestic abuse and cancer survivors that there is an entire world out there for them. Together, we can give each other confidence to try the things that we may have not had the courage to do before. I started Galveston Glamour Girls to do just that. There are currently 125 members in Galveston Glamping Girls. I started the group in June of 2019. Since then, I've hosted 36 events, everything from CPR, a class on fire starters, how to start campfires, bingo, camping trips, horseback riding, a learning to fish class, and we have participated in numerous awareness events. I love the group because it teaches us that we all have value and we all have worth. And I thank y'all. Last week, I was so excited when I was contacted to be part of this and give this speech. Also at that time, I had received notification that my writing had been picked up for an international publication. And I just audibly burst into these sobbing tears. And it was kind of shocking to myself that I was so moved by that. It's been a very long road to walk. I don't like looking back, but those tears flowed because that is not my life anymore. I survived, I made it, and I pray that every one of you do also. I thank you. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, okay, I'll start the Q&A. Okay. I was going to mention, oh, yes ma'am.
Question. So, are you married now? Is that what you
I am remarried. I got this wonderful husband right there.
proposed?